live on YouTube and Facebook, so welcome everybody. So this is the last Craftalong in October and very nearly the last Craftalong of the year for me, because as you know, I'm finishing early this year because of our bucket list holiday, which we're really looking forward to. But anyway, there are 2 or 3 more weeks, so do keep joining me here at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. And today I am going to be making another couple of Christmas cards, but I wanted to just remind you that we do still have the joining offer for just this week only. It finishes this Friday, so please don't miss out. And if you like the products I'm going to be showing you today, then you can get those as part of your amount that you put in your basket for your joining offer, because remember, you get £94 worth free, which basically means for this suite, if you got the upper offer, you're going to pay just 90. Now I can't remember. Why don't I know this off by heart? I really should do. But yes, the joining offer, really simple. And there's 2 there. I'm not doing very well today. I can't speak properly again, which is crazy. But yes, we've got 2 joining offers at the moment, and they are really good. They are the first one you can either get for £35. You get 96 now. Let me think. Oh, why isn't this working? And why can't I actually do this? I do not know. Oh, I've lost my. Oh no. I've lost everything. Where is everything? I hope you're still there, because I am struggling. Oh dear. Oh, I don't know what's happening. I can't see anything. My screen has just gone completely blank, which is just crazy. Oh, anyway, I was telling you about the offers. Hopefully you can still hear me if you can't see me. But the offers, really good offers. The first one is you can get for £130 worth of products for just £35. So this suite would normally be £86 for the whole suite, but you can get it for £35 and get some other stuff as well, up to the value of 130. So it's just brilliant. And I really don't know why more people aren't actually joining at the moment, because it's so much worth it. So £130 worth for only £35, which is unbelievable. £94 or something, can't remember, can't work it out. £95 worth of products free, which is unbelievable. So you get this whole suite for free plus more stuff, and you'd get it all for just £35. So unbelievable. Great offer. I'm hoping that you can see me again, because it's come back on my screen, so hopefully it is all working. I don't know why it's suddenly all vanished. I don't understand technology. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, if you are watching and able to watch me, because I'm hoping it is working, do let me know, and do pop in the chat where you're from and what you're doing. So I'm going to swap to my desk view, and you can see all the stuff I've got out here, and hopefully it's fairly straight. Yeah, I've actually got half the stuff here, which is, yeah, let me move those out of the way, because that's what we're going to be using. Let me show you the products first that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to use this Peaceful Garden suite. I don't have the whole suite, but I have quite a lot of it. And this is the stamp set I'm going to be using. Well, I'm going to be using some of this stamp set. I am using some sentiments from other stamp sets, some of my retired stamp sets as well. But I am going to use the Sending Peace, Love and Joy from this one, from one of the cards today. But this bundle is gorgeous. Apart from all those lovely sentiments, it comes with these lovely dies. So you've got these 2 doves, a couple of little envelopes, some stars, 2 different sizes of fronds, one of which the bird can hold, and these 2 lovely label type dies, which I think are a beautiful shape. I like this sort of shape. And obviously you can layer them, because we've got 2 of them. So it's a lovely set. That's the Peace on Earth bundle. And then I'm also going to be using, as you can see, I've used quite a lot already, some of this lovely Peaceful Garden. You can see me. Oh, thank goodness for that, Kay. I honestly, sometimes technology is beyond me. Anyway, I'm glad you can see me. That's great. So from Indiana, all that way. And I do hope everything's there, fabulous there with you. So this is the Glimmer paper. You've got the 3 different colours. It's like a dark bluey blacky one, a lighter bluey one, and a silver one. And they're beautiful sets of Glimmer papers. You get 2 sheets of each, so lots of Glimmer paper that will go a long way. And then I'm using the Peaceful Garden DSP as well, which is beautiful. I've used an awful lot of it so far anyway. Again, as usual, double-sided. So you've got all the different patterns and colours on the back. And because that Peace on Earth bundle has so many different sentiments, it doesn't just have Christmas ones. As you can see, it has a love one, it has heartfelt prayers with deepest sympathy, big hugs for a good friend, wishing you all the best in your new adventure. So it can be used for so many occasions. Really useful set, that. Anyway, this is the paper. So as I said, double-sided. So you've got these lovely frondy, flowery type, frondy more than flowers really, fronds type designs, and then you've got a pattern in different colours on the back. So it really is beautiful paper, and I've used quite a lot of it so far. But anyway, we shall see where we go with this one. I haven't used those sheets yet. They're rather nice with this sort of, I don't know what they're called. It's not a frond so much that, it's more like a sort of, I don't know, it looks almost like honesty, doesn't it? Like an honesty cluster or something like that, that plant honesty. And it's got a lovely sort of random basic beige pattern on the back. But anyway, there we go. Now, the lovely thing about our designer series paper, of course, is that on the back, it always tells you which colours it matches with, which is incredibly important. So if you are going to take advantage of this wonderful joining offer, remember you never have to buy anything else. But you can join, not from Indiana, with me, I'm afraid. Okay, you'd have to look for somebody more local. But anyway, I can take people from the UK and Ireland into my team. So if you're from there, then do think about it. So this particular set of paper matches the basic beige cloud cover, crumb cake, misty moonlight, pecan pie, and secret sea. I'm actually matching it with Night of Navy because I just love Night of Navy as a Christmas colour. To me, it's Christmassy. Night of Navy and white. So I'm going to make two very similar cards, but they are going to be slightly different. And I have done a lot of the preparation before actually starting, because don't need two of those, just need one, because there's quite a lot of die cutting in this. And I don't think we need that envelope. I thought I had two spare envelopes. They'd just come out here. So I have die cut from the dies I showed you. I've used the larger label die to cut out a rectangle of, with a shaped rectangle of the blue glimmer paper, the lighter blue glimmer paper. And if you want to know the size to cut for this, so you're not wasting any glimmer paper, 5.5 centimetres by 10 centimetres cuts that out. I've cut the smaller one in Night of Navy cardstock, because I'm going to use that in the centre here. Then I've also used the blue glimmer paper to cut 2 large fronds, 1 tiny frond, and 3 little stars. Just put those over there. And I've just remembered I haven't got and I've cut 2 doves from basic white as well. Let me just get my envelopes that I've forgotten to get. So you joined about 4 years ago, Kay. Oh, right, fine. Yeah. I think I'm just coming up. I think my next one is 12 years. So I've been around for a long time, far too long. There, I've got some envelopes as well, because I don't want you to forget to decorate your envelope. And of course, when you've got the 12 by 12 paper, a very easy way to decorate the envelope is just to stick some paper over the flap. Very easy to cut to size, because you just, if I get a piece to show you. So I wanted to do this because it matches that. Then I would place it over the edge of the paper, the way I want it to run, because obviously these doves are flying this way, draw around it, and then when I'm cutting, I cut just inside the line, and that is a brilliant way to do this. So the other way to do it is to stick the paper, to put the glue on the envelope flap, stick the paper to the envelope flap like that, and then you would just simply cut around the paper, and that's covered your flap. In fact, why don't I do that to show you? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So easy way to decorate the envelope, although I will usually put some sort of stamp or something on the front as well. Not always, but sometimes. So put some glue on, making sure you go fairly close to the edge, and then making sure this is the way up you want it, because my doves are flying that sort of way. Then I'm going to put the corner to the corner, lie it on just below the fold line, the crease line on the envelope. You don't want it to be too bulky on the actual crease line. Make sure you've pressed it down really well, and then you can simply get your snips and cut all around it. So 12 by 12 paper does make it ever so easy to decorate envelopes. The 6x6 paper just isn't quite wide enough to decorate the envelope. You can do it, and at some point I will actually show you how I do it. You just have to leave a border, but it's a bit more difficult to measure the size then, because obviously here I'm using the envelope itself to just cut around, so it's going to cover the whole of the flap of the envelope. But when you're using 6x6 paper, you have to leave a border because it doesn't quite reach the width of the envelope. It goes to about 1/4 of an inch each side, so you need to have a border that's 1/4 of an inch. You can do it, and one day when I've got a bit more time than I'm going to have today, because I'm going to show you these 2 cards today, I will show you how to do that. So that's a simple way to decorate the envelope. So you've just got a nice flap there with some of the paper that's going to match the card. Okay, so that was a bit of a distraction there, not getting on with the actual card itself. So for this card, I've got the ordinary card base, which is 21 by 14.8, scored at 14.5, or if you're working with US cardstock, it is 8.5 by 5.5 inches, scored at 4.25. So that's nicely burnished, so we've got that there. Then my piece of DSP for the front, and I'm making this a landscape card, so it's going this way, so it'll stand up like this. You could, if you want to, cut it long ways. It's totally up to you how best you want to make a landscape card. But this DSP, this is cut at 10 by 14.3, or in inches, it's 4 inches by 5.25 for US cardstock. Then I've also cut a similar size piece for inside. That's going to go in there, so that's going to be my layer inside. That's in basic white, and then I've cut all of these things from the Glimmer paper and basic white, so hopefully that makes some sense. This piece for my banner sentiment, and I'm going to show you how to make a banner sentiment. This is 2 centimeters by 13.5, which is I think it's 3/4 of an inch. I have actually put it in my post, so I'm not sure if it's not right. I think it's 3/4 of an inch by 5.5, but check that, it'll be in the post. I'm pretty sure that I have got that right. Okay, so very simple to make this. So the paper itself, I'm just going to stick on the front, so we're going to glue that down first. You never think to decorate the envelope. No, you must decorate envelopes, Kay. Really important. I think I don't like naked envelopes. My class always laugh at me because I can't let them go away with naked envelopes. I just can't bear it. Though I know a lot of people don't bother to decorate the envelope. I just think it adds to it, and it just makes it all sort of cohesive somehow and sort of go together nicely. So I just love doing envelopes too. I normally will stamp, and in fact I don't like a plain front, so even though I've put the DSP on the back, I will be doing something on the front, I can guarantee that. Okay, so for this one I'm actually going to have my this bit up here because I'm going to put a banner sentiment across the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm not going to actually have a sentiment on this piece, but I am going to stick these together. Now, the one thing about Glimmer paper is that it can be a little bit difficult to glue things to it. So just take your time, put plenty of glue on, like I'm doing on here. Plenty of glue. And then just be really patient when you hold it down. Make sure it's nice and central. It's got the same gap all the way around. Because it doesn't glue immediately, you've got plenty of time to adjust it. And then just press on it. Just press on it for about 10 seconds or so. And that's usually enough to stick it down. So I'm just going to keep holding it. I have no idea if that's 10 seconds because I'm talking. I can't count and talk at the same time. Though I'm female, I can't always multitask in that way. But anyway, hold it down for quite a few seconds. And then, as you can see, it's really well stuck then. But it is worth really just pressing down on it, press and hold, so that it sticks itself together. I'm going to put that on with dimensionals, if I haven't lost my dimensional sheet. There we go. So I'm going to have that on with dimensionals. So we'll use one of the long edge strips because that's quite useful. And oh, there's another one here, so use that long edge strip as well. And then, whoops, there's an extra bit there. Fair enough. And an extra bit there. Look at these extra ones. Just use it all. And then a couple in the centre, just so it won't move when I'm going to press it down. Press other things on top of it, of course. And then, if I can get my fingers to work, I've got I've got my embossing machine on top of my bin here at the moment because it's a good place to have it where I can grab it when I need it for the other card. There we go. So I'm having to squish my remains down the side of it. So that should do. There we go. So as I said, I'm going to have this at the top, and because this is going to be going as a sentiment along the bottom, I can use the card I'm going to use just to place it so I know roughly where to have it. Then if I have this here, that's about right, making sure it's roughly the same either side and it's level with the top. So that is the outside of my card. For the inside, I'm going to use these little stars. This is the die that comes out. There's 3 of them and it cuts 3, which is lovely. And I'm going to use those on the inside of the card. Oh dear, another blade not working brilliantly. Sometimes I think it's the set of cardstock. There's one colour. Now, which colour is it? Oh, I think, is it real red? That for some reason I don't think we can get at the moment, and I don't know why. I don't know why we can't get it, but I don't think we can get real red at the moment. So for these stars, I'm just going to have them in the bottom here. I'm just going to have them dotted like that. So I'm going to put my glue where I want them, rather than try and fiddle and put glue on the back of the stars. It's easier to put the glue on the paper or on the DSP or where you want to put it. And then you can add the stars on top, and you get definitely less messy that way. I always get covered in glue if I do it the other way, but this is quite a nice way to do it. So I'm using those just in the bottom to give a bit of decoration inside. And then I am actually going to use this is from, I think it's from is it from Brightest Glow, or it might be from one of the other sets? I can't remember. It's from one of my old sets anyway. It is now retired, sadly, but I didn't buy more sentiments this year, really, because I've already got so many from previous years. So whatever sentiment you want in here. This one is, may the peace of the season light your world, and may your new year be the brightest. So we're just going to have that in the middle there, like that. And that's a very juicy ink pad. There's a lot of ink on that. I could probably do several insides all at once without re-inking, to be honest. A lot of ink on that. There we go. Just clean that off. Okay, then I'm going to stick this inside. So I've got 2 weeks to finish making my Christmas cards. So it will be mainly Christmas cards in these lives for a bit. Make sure I've got it in the right side. Yes, I have. So there is the inside done. And then to finish the outside, I've cut 2 of these fronds. Now you can either use them however you want across there, or what I like to do with these, there is an actual piece in the middle, just about here, where it somewhere, either that join or that join, where if you snip it, it cuts 2 beautiful fronds, and they don't look as though they're wrong, you see what I mean? So let me try and show you. So that gives me 2 fronds. You can see those okay, which means I can use them better, because I want to have several decorating around the edge of this. So I didn't really need big ones, because I just want these 2 small ones. I'm going to do the same with this bit. So choose which one of these 2 ones you want to, these 2 joins you want to snip at, and you get 2 medium-sized fronds if you like. So I'm going to pop these in just by adding some. Actually, no, I'll use this, because I think I have got some fine tip glue out there, but I will need to poke it with a pin, I'm sure, to use it. So it's quicker just to do it with this. And if you're gentle with your Tombow, you can do really tiny dots, which are just suitable for the leaves on these fronds without putting too much on. So we're not going to get stuff spilling out, because we don't want that. And then I'm just going to add these just all around the edge of my piece here. Remembering I'm going to have my banner across the bottom, so I don't need to go down with these particularly. I'll have a couple this side as well. That one here, and the other one just in here. Don't want them exactly the same, because that's not how nature works. You can put more on if you want. And then just for the birds. Now, when this die cuts, can you see it actually cuts the wings, cuts the feathers on the wings. So if you just run a finger up those, they will separate out a little bit and they just get a little bit of shape. So I use my thumb or my finger inside next to where the cuts go to, and then just bend the cuts round, and it just shapes. Hope you can see that shapes the doves quite nicely. So same on this one, holding just at the bottom of where the cuts come to and using your finger just to ease them up. Just gives them a little bit of shape, which I quite like. So I'm going to pop those on with some dimensionals again. Just one is probably all right for the smaller dove. I use 2 for the bigger one. So I'm having my smaller one here and my bigger one the other side. So I'll have 2 on you, I think. I might have been a little bit careless with that. Is it going to show? No, it isn't. Thank goodness for that. It is just going to push it down a little bit out of the way. There we go. So I'm just having my 2 doves like that, and I'm going to add, this is really fiddly, but we can do it, the little tiny sprig for that dove to hold. Now, if you wanted, you needn't, of course, put these up on dimensionals. If you wanted to reduce the depth, you can either stick this, the bit out here, the main sort of rectangle shapes, I put on with dimensionals, but you could, if you wanted, it's going to wrap this round so it looks like he's holding it. There we go. A bit too much glue on those. You can see where it's come out there. You've got to be so careful with these. But if you wanted to reduce the dimensions a little bit, you could use dimensions just on the doves, but not on the rectangle, or vice versa. You can use them on the rectangle and have the doves flat. It's up to you. But I quite like a bit of depth with this card because I know who it's going to go to. Look, watch the replay this afternoon. Looks like it'll be a pretty card. No problem, Kay. Thank you for joining me. And I'm sorry you can't see the rest of the cards. But do come back and find out about the banner. This is actually what it's going to look like. I'll show you that before you go. It's sort of a bent banner, which will actually lie flat, but come up as soon as when you open the card. This one I'm not using because this is in gold and I want silver for this. So I have got the same sentiment, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So how we do the banner is we're going to do some scoring. And we're going to score on the long side of this strip. And we're going to score it at 1.5 and 2.5 centimetres on each end. So the easy way to do that is to use the right-hand side of this trimmer. My trimmer is filthy. I just realised I must clean it. Anyway, use the marks on this side. So 1.5 first. Move your cutting blade well out of the way. So we're going to score it at 1.5 and then at 2.5. And I'm going to do that on each end, and it's easiest to do it this way and just turn it round and then repeat it. So 1.5 and then 2.5 centimetres. In inches, that would be, I think probably if you did about 5, let's think 5/8 and an inch, that would do. You just want the middle 2 score lines a bit closer than the depth of this. This needs to be a little bit wider. So having done that, what I'm going to do now is shape the ends. So I'm going to eyeball it. You could measure it. I'm going to cut in not quite halfway to there, and then I'm just going to make it a banner by cutting in from the corner each side. I can use those cut out bits to measure to make sure I've got the other one the same length, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to eyeball it because I know roughly how big. So I tend to do my banners much the same size every time. So in the middle and then up from each corner. There, not quite in the middle, that one, but it will do. There we go. Right, and then how we fold these, the first one becomes a mountain fold and the second one is a valley fold. So just when you're folding it, make sure it's lining up, make sure it's nice and straight, and then give it a really good burnish. Just with your fingers will do. And same on this side. A mountain fold, lining it up, and then valley fold back out, lining it up. So that is the shape of your banner. I'm going to straighten it out again because we're going to do some embossing. So I'm going to get my embossing buddy and rub it all over the middle because we don't want embossing powder going where we don't want it. And then I can use my Versamark, and that's why it's worth doing the scoring, even if you don't do the folding, before you actually do the embossing, because you want this then in the middle. So now I've got those marks, I can make sure this goes right in the middle. I'm going to use my Merry Christmas there. And then get my silver embossing powder. Oh, I used to flip on top of it there. Always bang it from the back. Carol, that was silly, banging it right in the middle. Okay. I've just got a tiny bit where I don't want it there. So I'm going to just use the end of my pokey tool just to remove those couple of flakes that I don't want, because I'm very fussy about that sort of thing. Right, so now get my heat tool, which seems to have got stuck. There we go. Make sure it's warm on my hand first. And here we go. Hopefully this will, you can see this melt as it goes. And there we go, starting to go. Can you see that? I bring it along, you should be able to see it all starting to shine and sparkle as that embossing powder melts. And so I don't heat my fingers, I'm going to turn it around to do the remaining bit here. So there we have it, a nice silvery Merry Christmas. Okay, so to finish this card, I'm going to have the banner on here. And I actually want it to stand up or to come out. So in order to stick it down, I work out where it needs to be with these points so that we've got the right distance from the side. And then I'm going to put some glue on the reverse of those points. Fold one in. So it needs to go, as I said, line it up so that those points are even at the sides. Yeah, press down, and then the middle bit of it will stick up like that, but it will fold flat when you put it in the envelope for posting. So there we have our simple Merry Christmas, the first one, little Merry Christmas card. And just to finish it off, I looked at trying to decide what gems to use, and then I found these faceted gems from last year, and I just think they're probably very suitable if they're not stuck in here. Come on out, there we go. And I quite liked these, and I think they're going to be just right. Or I might use the silver ones, come to think of it. So I'm just going to have a couple in the middle. So it's, again, it would add to the depth of it, but hey, that's life. And I'm just going to have one up here. So I've got some gems just to add a little bit more bling, because you can never have too much bling. So there we go. There is the first card with its decorated envelope. I will add some more decoration to the front of that envelope later. But I wanted to show you a second card made on the very similar design, but not quite the same, because I don't make two cards the same. So again, don't forget to decorate your envelope. I will do that. But this time I wanted to show you another little gem for the centre. No, that was silly. I thought I had got this card ready. Let me just move that one somewhere safe out of the way. But I haven't scored this card. So it's normally, as I said before, it's scored at 10.5 or at 4 1/4 if you're using US cardstock. And then we're going to fold and burnish it. So making sure it's beautifully lined up, and give it a really good burnish with the bone folder, which you can add as part of your £130 worth of goodies for just £35 if you're buying it. Again, I've done a similar thing, but I've used some different colours. So this time I have used, let's tip those out. I might use those on the envelope because I'm not going to use them inside. Do you know, I might well. That'll give me my envelope decoration. This time I've cut out the glimmer paper, the larger rectangle, in a silver glimmer paper. And again, I've used the Night of Navy to cut out the smaller one. But this time we're actually going to decorate this. We're going to actually emboss that before we put it in. Again, I've cut out fronds, this time in silver, and 2 birds. I haven't cut out a little one, just 2 big ones there. I've got my piece for inside, which we're going to do something a bit cleverer with. And we've got my piece for the front, which I will stick on now. So this is using a very similar idea. And of course, the beauty of these cards and this paper is that it is not, although I'm using it for Christmas, it's not particularly Christmassy. So if you change your sentiment, this card in particular that I'm making now can be used for just about any occasion. So most of the birds are flying that way, so we'll have it that way up. There we go. So that's the front of my card. But this time I'm not going to do a banner at the bottom, so I'm going to have this in the centre. But what I am going to do, rats, and I should have done it before I did that, but never mind, we shall do something cleverer with the ends of the ribbon. I was going to wrap the ribbon round. So one option is I can wrap it around the whole of the front of the card and have it inside as well. Don't actually like doing that. I was going to wrap it around the DSP before I put the DSP on, but I haven't done. So what I'm going to do is get my ribbon scissors, cut a length of that that's slightly bigger than, it's gorgeous, this ribbon, isn't it? Can you see it's got this lovely silver edge to it? It's beautiful. It is part of the suite, this Peaceful Garden suite. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stick it across the card like that. Now it is Misty Moonlight. It would probably match Misty Moonlight cardstock better than this Night of Navy, but to be absolutely honest, I wanted to use Night of Navy because I think it matches the paper better. I think the paper shows up. If you put this direct onto Misty Moonlight, you wouldn't really see it so much because there wouldn't be such an obvious border. So I'm going to put my strip of tear and tape. This is a wide tear and tape that I happen to have, just useful for a ribbon. Because I'm going to, oops, if I can get it to decide to come up, there we go. I'm going to use it to stick the ribbon down where I want it to be across the card. And this is what you should do before sticking your DSP on, because then you could just tuck these ends behind the DSP, which obviously I can't do. So I'm going to have to trim them. And because I've got nice, sharp ribbon scissors, that ribbon should stick quite happily there without fraying or doing anything odd. So we're just going to leave it like that. So then, oops, stuck to me that bit, go away. So I'm going to stick this on top, and again I am going to use some dimensionals. If I haven't just lost them, where have I put those? They were here a second ago, because oh, there they are, under the ink pad. I knew I had them because I'd used them just a second ago. Ridiculous. This time I'm just going to use about 6 dimensionals rather than the strips, because I've used those, whoops, around the outside. I'm guessing these all over the floor, but never mind, I can pick them up later. I really haven't left enough gap by the side of my bin. So then I can line it up. Because we've got the bobbles, I want the bobbles to line up with the ribbon. There we go. So that's stuck on the front. Now, this time we're actually going to emboss a sentiment on here. And I'm using a Merry Christmas sentiment from another set, which happens to fit, because I want this to be, as I said, I want it to be a... where have I put my... Honestly, it's amazing how you lose things on a desk when you've just had them. I want this to be a Christmas card, but you could use any other sentiment. And from that Peaceful Peace on Earth bundle, a lot of the sentiments will fit in here. So Peace on Earth will fit in here, because I could have used that one for this Christmas card, but I decided not to. And Heartfelt Prayers fits in, with Deepest Sympathy fits in, Big Hugs for a Good Friend will fit in, but you'll need to do it that way. They all do fit. But I want to use just Merry Christmas, so I have got this from another set. So I'll just Versamark it up, pop it in the middle like that. And then we're going to emboss it in silver. I did think about embossing it in white. Just thinking, I wonder if it might be better in white. No, I think we're going to stick with silver and just see what it looks like. If I don't like it, I can always do another one and do it in white later. It's never the end if you don't like what you've done. You can always change things. That's one of the beauties. It's you know, it doesn't always, things don't always work as you want them to, and then you have to think of other ways of doing things sometimes. But there we go. Right. So I'm just going to emboss that. Hopefully it'll show up much better than it currently is doing as it melts. Here we go. So there we have our Merry Christmas embossed there. Just straightening it out again because it did warp a little bit under the heat there, and that is going to stick on here. So again, I'm going to put a load of glue on and then hold it down for quite a while. Probably should have done this before I stuck that on the ribbon, really, because I'll be pressing down on an embossed piece, but I think we'll be okay. So press it on, and then I'm going to hold it down for just quite a while, as I said, around 10 seconds minimum. So don't be in a hurry with this, just hold it down against the Glimmer paper, and it allows the glue just to seep into the fibres of the cardstock and sit properly on the Glimmer paper and start to dry so it holds itself before it finishes drying. And then, of course, you can you'll be able to leave it. So that should have stuck. Yes, it has. So then this time, because I've got my sentiment already there, I can do a similar thing with my birds, holding at the bottom of these cut bits and just gently encouraging those to split and just give a little bit of dimension. And the same with this one. You could just put one bird on, you could have both. I like these birds, so I'm going to have both like this. So they are going to go on with dimensionals, but this time I'm going to sit them off the side of here. So the dimensional is going to go sort of nearer the base of the wing here this time, rather than on the body of the bird. And instead, on the body of the bird, I'm going to just pop a little bit of Tombow, because that is going to sit on top of the already dimensionalized, dimensionalized, is that a word? Dimensionalized. This bit's already got dimensions on, so I'll have a dimension on the wing, and then I can stick the bird head direct to this, if you can see that. So I've got it sitting up off the edge of the thing. I'm going to do a similar thing with here, but this time I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. I think I might just glue this one actually, because nearly all of the bird is going to be on top of there, but the bit I don't glue and the bits I've shaped will actually be off the bottom, which is fine. So that's just glue on these bits, so I can hold that down on here, holding it down a bit longer than usual because this bit in particular is sticking to the silver rather than just the Night of Navy. So again, I want to make sure that's actually stuck down properly. There we go. So that just surrounds my Merry Christmas there. And then again, I have some fronds, which I think this time I probably won't cut because I'll have one top and one bottom. And that will just finish the card. And then I want to show you my idea for the inside. And I haven't tried this out, so I've no idea if it'll work or not. We will see in a minute. Let me just stick these on. And then I can do them the inside. So just going to stick that on like that. And then we'll stick this one on the top. So how's everybody else getting on? Are you all making your Christmas cards yet? I must admit, quite often I won't actually start making them till near the end of October. It's just that this year I have to because of this going away. So I have to get them done, which is why I've had to get on with them. I'm just going to push that down there because I don't want the stem to show. I don't like to see the stem. There we go. So that's done my front, and I could add some more gems to that as well if I wanted. But I want to show you my idea for doing the inside. Oh, let me just stick these while I've got the glue out. I will use these on the envelope. So again, like last time, I'm going to put 3 little dots of glue and then add them to the glue rather than gluing them and then adding them. Definitely is easier. Ask me how I know. I've learnt the hard way, folks. Learnt the hard way. I tried to do it by putting glue on these, and then as I was manhandling them, trying to hold them by these little tiny fronds and move them into position, and of course I managed to get glue everywhere. So I learned that that's a better way to do it. So I'm going to use that as the decoration on my envelope. Now for the inside of this one, I've been looking at this because I did buy this Peaceful Garden embossing folder, which is also part of the suite. But I didn't really just want, I've seen so many cards which have embossed that and had peace on earth in the middle and a couple of doves. And I've seen a lot of cards like that. Although I might do some for myself, I don't know, not very interested. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this inner piece. So I've cut it to size. It's already the size I told you before. So I've cut it to size. Now I'm laying it in the embossing folder so that it covers more or less the whole thing. Now, one of the things with embossing folders is they do fit the US cardstock really well, because the US cardstock is narrower widthways than this. So we have a little bit of extra on the side, and I'm going to emboss it as it is and then decide if I'm actually going to bother cutting those little bits off or not. So I leave them on for the start because sometimes they can look a bit odd if you've got a wider gap around the edge of your sides of your cards than you have top and bottom. So I'm going to have a look and see. So the first thing to do is emboss it. So I'm going to pop that in here and run it through my stamp and emboss machine like that. Just put this down again. Whoa. There we go. And here we have it. So as you can see, it actually has the center is the same pattern as in these rectangles. So you can obviously die cut a separate color to stick in that. So that in itself on a card front is nice. But can you see what I mean about the fact it goes to the edge of the card, top and bottom, but not to the edge on each side? So I've got to decide now. This is for our cardstock. For a US cardstock, it fits beautifully. Unsurprising, I suppose. So I've got to decide. I think I probably will trim it off because I don't really like, I don't really like that bits at the side. I think I will just trim it down a little bit. So that's why I wanted to emboss it first and then see how it looked. But I really don't like that little bit of extra card down the side. So I am just going to trim it down, not right down, just a little bit off either side. Can't do it top and bottom because obviously it would show, which is just daft. And I've cut it slightly smaller that side than that side. I don't think that matters too much. So we're going to pop that in there. And you can see what I mean now about it now fits top and bottom, but there's a gap either side. I think I'm going to live with that. But the final thing I'm going to add is a sentiment from the Peace on Earth set. And I'm actually using two of the stamps. I'm using Sending Peace, Love and Joy. And that fits beautifully in the middle of here and still gives me some room at the bottom. Oh, there's a little envelope fallen out of my stamp set. I should put that back in a bit. And that still leaves me room to write. So because I've done emboss this in white, I'm actually going to stamp it in Night of Navy. And of course it's see-through, so I can see it beautifully, make sure it's inked up properly. And we're just going to have it there. Sending Peace, Love and Joy. There we go. So I've still got room to write, love from me or whatever underneath without needing to damage that. But it gives a nice little extra something for the inside of the card. So that's my idea for using that embossing folder. Rather than just, you can have it on the front of the card. My problem with that is the gaps and the fact that we don't do, it doesn't fit our UK cardstock as well. That's why I don't particularly like that. So I decided I'd try it inside and see. Anyway, when you are gluing things like embossed pieces of paper, make sure you get as much glue as possible on the flat bits that aren't embossed, because then it will stick, and obviously around the edges. But around the pattern, I do put some glue, but it won't always stick it terribly well. Just be careful when you are sticking embossed pieces of cardstock. So there we have my inside. So I've got my big gaps to the side and my little gaps top and bottom, but I think I can cope with it. I think I'm happy with that. So there we have it. There are two cards. Different, very similar design, but different. So we've got this one where I've just embossed on the center here. Should have moved it over a little bit. Looking at it now, it would have balanced the doves better, but hey, life. Emboss the inside just for a little something extra. And the second card here, the interest here is with the shaping of the doves and also my banner, which will fold flat to the side to pop in the envelope. So I hope you like those cards, and I do hope you can join me again next week. All of the instructions, the measurements and what have you are all in my blog, which will be published later this afternoon, and it will also have a replay of this video. So if you've missed anything and want to find the measurements, or you didn't hear them at the start, or whatever it is, they are written down. You can just copy them from my blog. So thank you for joining me today. Do join me again next week. There's another project. There may be a video as well next week. I haven't decided yet. And then there will be also the blog hop the week after. And then that's me signing off for Christmas. But there we go. Lyris, how nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. And I'm glad you caught those cards. Don't know if you saw all of it, but lovely. And I'll see you next week as well, which is going to be nice. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Do go to the blog at craftycarolscards.co.uk. And don't forget, if you do like this suite, let me just pop those back so you can see the stuff again. Do like this. Whoops. Just try to. There we go. Swap back to the desk view. If you do like this suite, the papers, the glimmer paper, the embossing folder, there's there's this stamp set with the dies, these lovely dies. Oh, so many things in this suite. And also the lovely midnight ribbon I showed you before, this ribbon. These are all part of the suite, and these papers. So you've got the DSP and the glimmer paper, all part of the suite, and they are £85 if you want to just buy the suite. But if you go for the joining offer this month, you've got all of the rest of this week to do it, but only until Friday. Then you can, of course, get this as part of all your stash, plus more, because you can get £130 worth. So you can get this suite, £85, plus, if my maths is right, another £45 worth of products. So perhaps you can buy a Versamark pad, or the embossing buddy, or more ribbon, or cardstock to go with it. Perhaps you haven't got coloured cardstock, or need more white cardstock, or perhaps you need envelopes. You can add things up to £130 worth of products, and you pay just £35. Free shipping, free everything else. It's such a good offer. Don't miss it. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you can join me next week, and I will